comes to my next question then. So what is it at the moment? Because with Liverpool dealing with, because set pieces is one, direct second balls.
I think it's a natural. I think it is a personnel issue at the moment because of because the amount of changes game to game, players knowing their roles, defensive setups is a massive thing, right? Like I said, when you're in an institution that working together for 5 years, everyone knows their role automatically. Whereas these guys are unsure of their roles. Who's picking up? Who's this is only walking? Do you do this? When do you do this? When do you do that? And then different players are having different roles. There is obviously a weakness in the tactical setup of things. Like, remember, we saw McAllister marking Dan Burns in the League Cup final. And we saw McAllister marking, I think it was Frimpong marking Maguire or something when they scored the winning goal or something like that. You know, there is issues with the way we're setting up. I just think we're going through a phase. Do you remember we went through a phase under, which manager was it? Roy Evans, that every set piece, every corner we were conceding.
Yeah, I think it was
under Roy Evans. Like every Man United free kick was a goal against us, it felt like. So teams do go through these phases. I think overall we defended well against set pieces and throw-ins against Brentford. We got caught cold. We must do better. And I generally think, in terms of the second balls that you're referring to and fitness, I think we're at 70% fitness as a team. We're struggling physically. I don't think we're ready. I think the pre-season's been obviously again with the tragedy. You know, it hasn't been. It's been stop-start. Players joining late. Players getting injured in pre-season. I just don't think we're physically right now, and it's costing us. Teams are outrunning us, outpowering us, outfighting us, and I'm hoping as we go into tomorrow's match that we're slightly in a better position physically. I don't know what you think. And obviously we start off with some team news. And we're glad to see, hold on, let me bring this up. It's good to see that this young man will be back and much needed as well. Ryan Gravenberch. Obviously he was asked, firstly, Ryan, this is an interview he done with the club. How are you in terms of fitness? He says, yes, I feel very confident. It looks like he's back in. Huge that he's back in, right? Huge.
Massive. Yeah, humongous, especially with what happened to Curtis Jones, who, again, you could probably repeat this moment for all these years we've been on YouTube, just as Curtis Jones. You probably have one video just before where we're gassing him, and then the next we're saying he's injured again. Look, yeah, massive. I mean, at one stage, people were calling him the best midfielder in the Premier League. Do you know what I mean? So to have him injured, and again, we know really, I suppose we probably don't make as much noise about injuries as other clubs do. But he's been a massive miss. You know, his physicality, his legs in the midfield, I think were huge. Just his general ball carrying ability, and also,
where are you with him in terms of? Are you convinced that he's the DM? Like, everyone's shouting, oh, all well and good, but we still haven't addressed this DM position. Where are you with Ryan Gravenberch after the season he had last season, and then the role it seems he's playing this season, even though it looks like he may revert back to last season's role again? I don't know, because he's got attributes of an 8. He's got attributes of a box-to-box, really. I don't think he's got attributes of an 8. And the reason why I say this, and it's interesting to get your opinion, and people in the chat let me know, I don't think he's got the passing range that I would like in an 8, in my 8.
I think that is what everybody's concern has been with Ryan Gravenberch. And you know what? He can play a role in that midfield, but he does need someone alongside him. You know, it would have been amazing if we would have seen someone like a Zubamendi next to him. So he needs someone like, you know, he had someone like that in McAllister last year. I thought McAllister was much more the passer of the two, right? He was much more the connector of the two, making things happen and making those late bursts. I think his passing ability is not great. And it's not great in terms of he can't pass or anything like that. It's what you require in a midfielder to get up the pitch. is sometimes that tempo setting, sometimes keeping control of the ball, keeping control of the team. You know, that's probably why Wijnaldum was just one of the best ever, because he had the attributes of Gravenberch, but in the way of physicality, dribbling, and everything. But he could also knock the ball about between his teammates. And sometimes, these games that we've played this season, we've not been great at kind of keeping the ball. And too many times we give the impetus to the team to basically almost at times give it back to them, and they just go long, and then we're dealing with.
We've been taking too many risks without being settled in a. I think so. I think
players have been really high up. Do you know what I mean? Like, everything's been really kind of like, okay, look, everybody's expecting something to happen here at times, and that's where the risk has been. It's kind of like there's been nobody here to carry it out. That's why I thought Curtis Jones, when he came out against Eintracht Frankfurt, were very.
He's a percentage passer, isn't he?
Exactly, and you need percentage passers. If the issue this season, Grizz, is the fact that we are mentally like a second behind our opponents when it comes to counterattacks, the last thing we need to do is be giving our opponents the opportunity to counterattack us. And I feel like we give that too much. And I feel like someone like Ryan Gravenberch, in the way that he plays the midfield role, does present risks at times with the turn. But and here's an interesting one. I think all of them do, right? If I look at the goal against Bournemouth when Semenyo scored, it was Dominic Szoboszlai. He's also very risky with the ball.
Flick, yeah.
Right? The game against Brentford between Florian Wirtz and Hugo Ekitike, they both had the ball between each other, lost the ball, one pass, it was a goal.
Chelsea, I think it was McAllister maybe.
Dozing around with the ball, boom, they turned around, sliced us open. So yeah, you're right. There's no 90%, 95% percentile passes. That's probably why I think a lot of people think Gravenberch is quite risky in that midfield role, but he can definitely play a part. We just need to be better at holding on to it. And I think he needs people around him to help him do that. And unfortunately, Chris, we've got so many risky players. I mean, if you want to set up with the midfield three of Gravenberch, Dominic Szoboszlai, and Florian Wirtz, right, that's just risk overload. Do you know what I mean? They're always trying to find that forward pass. They're always trying to find that turn. They're always trying to take a man on. They're always trying to go forward. And unfortunately, in teams like Liverpool, where clubs are happy for them to have the ball and knock it about, the last thing you need is to be taking risks. And I think that's the issue we have with Ryan Gravenberch at the moment. Can he reduce the risk? What about this, Grizz? Based on the formation you saw against Palace, what about if he drops into a 3?
I mean, I think he's a fantastic player. I just think we're trying to redefine his role without having a solid foundation and the team setup, and it's causing issues. He goes on to say, he's asked, it's a tough time for everyone. How important would it be for you to go back and playing your part in trying to turn results around? It was really important. Everyone around here, also the fans and us, we need to go back to winning ways. It'll be a really tough game tomorrow, but we prepare well and see what we can do, basically. He just goes on to say, I think it's true. A team, we have to stick together. I think that goes without saying. And, he's asked, what are the conversations like between players when you're having a difficult time like this? Honest but constructive? He goes, yes, just being honest to each other about what we can expect and what we can do better. It's all about that. He's right. It's a huge week. It's a massive week, Keith. Are we saying is this Slot's, without doubt, is this Slot's biggest game in his Liverpool tenure?
I think.
What do you think?
It's probably his most pressured game in his tenure by far, but probably the most pressured game. I wouldn't say it's necessarily his biggest game. I think his biggest games are still to come. I think
so far
it's a must win, but at the same time, it's a must not lose in that respect. He's going to play teams where it's going to be difficult, and okay, if we don't lose, it might not be as bad as losing. Kind of, I don't know, Grizz.
It's a tough one. Even you, a man like you, he's even struggling to talk about this, because it is, Keith. I don't think we should beat around the bush, man. I think it's his biggest game. I think there's a lot of, especially And am I right in saying that, especially after the League Cup selection controversy and then going out, do you think it's heaped more pressure on him? And should that be the case?
Well, I have a slightly different viewpoint on that situation. I actually believe that if Arne Slot had went full strength on Wednesday, then I would have thought he had definitely lost the plot, because he had an approach to the League Cup this season and he stuck to it. And that's all I have to respect for him. You know what? You stuck to your guns. You didn't come across as feeling desperate and turning around and saying, I need the League Cup to save my season kind of. I don't want to see that. He made a decision that I fully support, because I think Liverpool have shown the League Cup more respect than it ever deserves, as has Pep Guardiola, who's mentioned it many times, and season over season plays weaker squads. We've shown it a lot of respect. We've won it many times. I don't care. I think it's one of the worst competitions to be in, and it has destroyed multiple title challenges for Liverpool over the years. So do you know what? I'm glad that he stuck to his guns and he stuck to his feelings and he went for that team. So I don't think that there should be pressure on the team that he picked. What I do think there should be pressure on is the fact that you're fighting a direct top four rival at home. So regardless of whether Liverpool were doing well, not so well, whatever it may be, Aston Villa, as of right now, we're fighting for the top four. And as of right now, Aston Villa are a rival. They haven't lost a game since August. They're right up our ass. So it is these type of games that you start to lose and you fall down the league, then it becomes a serious problem. And, you know, Slot hasn't got too much lifelines left. You know, he's not got much left to play with if you lose the home game to Aston Villa. It's no disrespect to Villa. They can beat us on any given Sunday. But a game of this magnitude, we should be showing up as our best selves and getting the 3 points. And if the boys can't pull it off or don't have it in them to pull it off, then that, for me, is going to be the first sign that the players are no longer playing for the manager.
Talking about tomorrow then, and the pressure cooker situation that we find ourselves in, you called it a must-win, yet must not lose at the same time. So basically, you're saying win or a draw, like losses can't even come into our full pattern. But if the unthinkable happens, where does it leave Slot for you? And more importantly, where do you think it leaves Slot in the eyes of the hierarchy, the ones that actually make decisions, not us on Twitter and YouTube and whatever?
It obviously will depend.
We work our way upwards. So look, where does a loss leave you first?
Yeah.
In Slots.
Yeah, you know what? The performance is going to have a massive indication on you know, if it's something where I feel like, you know, it's just one of those seasons and we did everything we can once again and, you know, it just didn't work out. I'll have say, for example, you know, I'll be on my last tenterhooks kind of vibes, but I'll still reserve a bit of sympathy in relation to the fact that we did all the things right and still just come unstuck. And it's one of those seasons. But if it's a really drab, poor performance where Villa have more shots on goal, have more touches in the opposition box, create more big chances, XG swing is going their way, then that's when I think if I was the hierarchy and I was in their position, I start to be fielding some phone calls, because for me, that's when you lose it. And it's you know, so there's two ways you can lose, you know what I mean? And it's funny, I used to cuss draws. Now I'm begging for one. Just draw. If you can't win, if you get unlucky, whatever it is, you batter Villa for whatever reason, they go on the counter and score, go 1-0, and we get, a 1-1 draw, but it was like 5 XG to 1, and we completely dominated and we're just unlucky. Okay, you can take that. You can take something like that. But you cannot take a team, you couldn't take a Crystal Palace, what Crystal Palace did, that 3-0.
If that happens tomorrow, you're saying it's...
Yeah, phone calls are getting fielded, 100%. Because then that's the beginning of the end. I'm sorry to say, it just is. History's not...
5 games in a row that's not acceptable, man. Doesn't matter.
Brother, remember, that sort of thing, it was like on this day when Liverpool went to Chelsea and they beat them 3-1, Benteke, Coutinho. It was one of Jurgen Klopp's early games. Jose Mourinho himself, the great Jose Mourinho, got sacked. They were 10th that time. and they just won the league the season before, and then the season after they finished 10th. Big managers can get sacked. Carlo Ancelotti, second season, got sacked. You know what I mean? It can happen, and a lot of it is based on whether the players are playing for the manager or not.
But this is what I mean about this is the biggest game of his career. I think it's the biggest game of his career tomorrow. I'll put it out there and I'll repeat. Because of the fact, the way you described it, and I tend to agree that I think if there's a demoralizing defeat like the Palace one, then I think the hierarchy will start getting worried. I don't think they're worried at the moment. Concerned, of course. I don't think there's any sort of thoughts in their heads of even sacking him or anything like that. But he's under huge pressure to get his team selection right and team tactics right, which we're going to go into in the final segment. He has to pick a team tomorrow. He's rested everyone. We know Gravenberch is the only one back. We know Curtis Jones is out. We know Isak is out. We know Frimpong is out. And we know Alisson's out, obviously. So what are we doing with this lineup?
It's been the hardest part of every show since we started.
Every show is the dilemma of the selection. Why, though? Because I'll tell you why. We don't know because of niggling injuries every week, right, to key squad players and possibly first teamers in Isak's case as well. But it's just not. This is one of the reasons why we've been so bad as well. But go on, let's try.
Jeez.
I think we're going to disagree straight away on the right back.
Oh.
You've not been impressed with Bradley at all, have you?
Just haven't been impressed with Bradley at all, to be honest with you. I think when Bradley plays, he kind of has the entire right wing to himself. I think he's a good player. Do you know what I mean? He's quality, better going forward than defending. But for what we need in that position, I just don't think he offers it. Like, that's why Calvin Ramsey shone on Wednesday, because, you know, he was doing exactly what we've been missing this entire time. And he's doing it as an actual right back as opposed to Szoboszlai who does it, but he's kind of being shoehorned into that position. You know, if I was Arne Slot and I had seen the way that Calvin Ramsey played on thingy, I would throw him straight in, because that's exactly what we need in that position. And that's the best way to get the best out of Mo Salah. We don't need a touch and go right back, running the wings, etc., etc. We've got winger there until Mo Salah goes, and you want to change it, utilize his strengths. And so, you know, I'd put Calvin Ramsey in there in a heartbeat. That's why I've always put Szoboszlai in that position, for the same reasons. We don't need a touch and go right back. We need a distributor. What slot? Well, okay, well, you know what I would do? I would hand Calvin Ramsey his first Premier League start based on that performance alone.
Wow. You know what I think of Calvin Ramsey, and I've been preaching the mostest about Calvin Ramsey and how good this kid is, and hopefully people saw glimpses of what this guy can do. If he just remains fit for 3 months, I think he'll show enough quality in every opportunity to people to realize this guy's the closest in attribute-wise to Trent Alexander-Arnold. No, I'm not saying he's on par with Trent. I'm just saying he's the closest. He's a technical football player. Technical. Oh, his passing range is immaculate. And he can score goals as well. He's got a strike on him, and he's got a massive passing range. I'm going to go with Bradley at right back. Centre-backs pick themselves. I don't think Gomez done himself any favours.
Nah, especially that first goal.
Oh, John Gomez. Not doing any favours, man. He's not. We're so weak at the centre-back. If we don't address it in January, it's negligence of the highest order. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you that for a fact. Left back.
Look, the thing is with I've got, if Arne Slot wants his left back to be inverted, then he should be playing Andy Robertson for the rest of the season. Grizz, look at Robertson. Robertson has turned into this deep-lying, playmaking, knocking balls around, doing X, Y, and Z. Like, he's got the techers and the ability to do it. Like, Kerkez is an out-and-out maraudering left back. So, like, what do you want? You're not letting Kirkes be Kirkes. You want him to do the job that Robertson done. You know what I mean? In effect. So play Robertson then, if that's what you want. And Kirkes will have to learn on the job. But obviously, between the two, I still think that Kirkes is getting the shout. I think Slot's going to persist with picking Kirkes ahead of Robertson in most games and go for it. But I disagree with it completely. I think you throw Andy Robertson straight back into there. Okay, defending he's suspect, but it's not like anybody else is defending great at the moment. And on the ball, I think Andy Robertson is a lot more useful to what we're trying to achieve right now.
Okay. I don't know what he's going to do tomorrow. Kirkes or Robertson? What do you think in the end then he's going to pick?
Kirkes.
You think he's going to go for Kirkes? Yeah. All right. Kirkes. Gravenberch obviously comes into midfield. Szoboszlai next to him. McAllister or Wirtz?
Oh, it has to be Wirtz, no? It's got to be. It's not a choice at this point.
He does have a choice. He pulled off McAllister. He rested Wirtz, which suggests he's in line to start, but he also picked that midfield last time, didn't he, in the last league game? Did he? No, he picked Wirtz.
He picked Wirtz, yeah. He picked Wirtz. Florian Wirtz. You just got to play him in the position. I mean, look, this is the grandmaster playing with Florian Wirtz. I don't understand why he keeps chopping and changing between him and McAllister or whatever. I think if you're going to play a team like Aston Villa, that's kind of the perfect team to play against because Unai Emery is not going to change his tactics to play against Liverpool. No way. That's one manager that is not going to go long every 5 minutes. He's going to be wanting to draw Liverpool out and pass around them. That's his philosophy. So press from the front. You want more bodies there to press. Florian Wirtz goes in.
And I don't think there's going to be any controversy or drama with the front three. I think it's going to be Gakpo coming back in, despite people's calls for Chiesa to start. Ekitike is our only striker fit. It's just mad. Crazy. And then Mohamed Salah on the left. Go on.
You find Ekitike against Brentford
frustrating. I don't think we got him enough in the game, and I thought he was bullied by the centre backs. But I think again, massive wake up call for him. I think he must have realised this is Premier League.
Yeah. Nathan Collins and Sepp van der Berg.
This is just when you think you got away from them, you drift out wide and you got that other Ayer, whatever his name is.
Coyote.
Coyote was brilliant. The other fullback, Christoph Ayer.
Oh yeah, Christoph Ayer. Yeah. He's also Man Mountain.
Yeah. So wherever he was going, he was getting beat up.
Oh my God, it's so true.
I mean, Coyote was brilliant, by the way. Coyote, first time I've seen him live. Wow. He won't stay at Brentford.
Brentford, us, man.
He won't be at Brentford long, my brother. That was one of the best performances I've seen this season, man, from an opposition player. He was so good from right back. So I think that's the team. I think he's going to go McAllister, Keith.
What did you see? What did you see against Palace to suggest that McAllister?
Nothing. I
think he's got one foot out the door, Grizz.
McAllister.
Yeah, he's got one foot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, honestly, like there's a couple of theories I have. First was I do think he's got his foot out the door. I think he wants a fresh start. I think he was very close to Jota.
One season.
I think again the tragedy. We talk about how it might affect someone like Salah. I think also someone like McAllister. Jota was a leader in the dressing room in that respect. You know what I mean? Particularly with players from that region. So he's not been fit. He's got a World Cup coming up, which I'm sure he probably would rather be really fit for, which is, I'm sorry to say.
I know this theory of yours. Go on, tell everyone else. You keep saying this theory.
Yeah. I just think, look, I think certain players, subconsciously, I'm not saying they do it deliberately. I'm not saying they throw games, but I think subconsciously, ask them without a stutter, what would you rather win this season, the World Cup or the Premier League? And I think someone like a McAllister would say the World Cup before you even finish the sentence. Do you know what I mean? And I think, I do think it's showing physically. He's trying to get up to speed. I think the injury he had was quite bad. So all in all, I just don't think McAllister's head's in it. I don't get why we're persistent with playing him. He looks, you can see it as well. He doesn't want the ball. You know what I mean? He goes into positions where he can look like he's trying to make a third man run into the box to try and score a goal. But the reality is you're kind of hiding a little bit. I feel he hides in the pitch a lot. He doesn't really want it. He doesn't want the ball. And so I don't understand why he's still getting chances to start. He doesn't look like someone who even deserves it. At least Florian Wirtz, for all his trials and tribulations, is getting stuck in every moment he gets, you know what I mean? And getting involved in everything and wanting the ball and wanting to create something. We need that in our team right now. We don't need a passenger.
What's happened to Maka, man? The mystery of Maka is baffling, man. Like all the other players, the new players, make sense, right? They haven't had time to set. Frimpong injured, in and out. Wirtz in and out of the team. Isak injured. Ekatike in and out of the team. But the established ones like Maka, where's his form gone?
No, I think someone mentioned in the chat, we're saying, it would have been a different story last season. Yeah, it would have been a different story last season. Absolutely. Last season I was praising Maka as one of the best midfielders in the Premier League, but you can't deny what we're seeing right now. We can't, everyone puts the pressure on Salah, everyone puts the pressure on Van Dijk, rightly so, they're the leaders, they're the highest paid players, but I mean, Grizz, you're seeing it, I'm seeing it. It's just not the same player. And that you don't just become that player overnight. There has to be mitigating circumstances for it. And, winning the Premier League for him may have been the pinnacle of that. How much more does he want it? I'm not seeing it right now.
A bid comes in January. Are you doing it in early as January, or are you at least waiting till summer?
I think if the player wants it, I give him the move in January, 100%.
And then what?
And then we do what we always do, Grizz. We show up for the second half of the season, not signing a central midfielder replacement, and stick out for the summer in typical Liverpool fashion.
No chance, man. Because it'll be difficult to prize away a Wharton or a Belabor in January, right?
100%. Well, a Belabor's interesting because, it's not all roses in Brighton at the moment. Let me say it like that.
Yeah.
And remember, if Liverpool, as long as Liverpool qualify for the next round of the Champions League, they can register to play in the Champions League. So if players want to have that step up in Jan and their clubs are not doing well, I think there'll be a lot more appetite for manoeuvre. Let me say it like that.
I'm with you with McAllister. And people might think it's reactionary or whatever, but I've been watching him for a year now. Pretty much. It's calendar year, I should say. I think we're going in a different direction. See, this is the mad thing, though. Slots of possession-based culture and all about intelligent midfielders, intelligent players. And McAllister is the epitome of an intelligent player. Yet I just think he's got the legs in him to play in this team. And I'll say again, I don't think him and Wirtz can play in the same team in the Premier League.
No way. But that's a...
Add to that Salah as well, this version of Salah. That's Salah, Wirtz, and McAllister. 3 shorties, non-physical. You know what I mean, man? Come on. You can get away with 1, maximum 2, but you can't have 3, 5, 4 8ers. Not having the ability to win physical duels. Now, Mohamed Salah is one of the strongest pound for pound and has been Premier League players you're ever likely to see. But his powers have waned. Why? We have to accept that. There's no drama. There's no controversy. He's 33 stroke 34 now. His powers have waned. We'll discuss the role of Mohamed Salah another time because I think I wanted to ask you, has it become a hindrance? Who would have thought I'd say or even ask the question, has Mohamed Salah become a hindrance?
I just think that do you not feel though that a lot of the football gets played on the left? because people seem to be more willing. I don't know what it is. I just feel like more of the football these days is generated towards the left-hand side of the pitch and the right-hand side of the pitch. I mean, pre-Trent leaving, everything started on the right-hand side. You know what I mean? Trent, Szoboszlai, Salah. It was all created around there. Nowadays, it seems to be much
I think
more.
we're trying to be more central.
Yeah, and we're trying to do it via Gakpo, in my opinion. We're much more suited to this way to try and make it go that way. So, look, this team is not built around Salah anymore.
No, and I think the transition is the transition is the reason and the cause for the results at the moment. I think we're transitioning during a season from a team that relies on Salah to a team that doesn't rely on Salah, and I think that's the problem.
Do you think was that the right thing to do?
And also, at the other end, a team that relied on Trent to build the play, to make the play, to break the lines, to start the attacks. We're trying to transition into a team that has to pretend Trent's not there anymore.
Yeah.
Two totally different new fullbacks and an out of form centre back, or centre backs, I should say. There's fucking issues everywhere, isn't it, Keith, at the moment?
When you say it like that, it's interesting to say. Salah's gone from having he was Golden Boot, Golden Assist, Premier League winner. Okay, so is there not certain blame to put at the sporting director's feet and Slot's feet to try and make this change off the back of that?
I think there is going to be questions and issues. Question marks asked about the recruitment, yes. In terms of the name, in terms of the prices and names and marquee signings, which I was always wary of. I always used to argue and fight with people on Twitter about marquee signings. I didn't give a shit about marquee signings, man. I just wanted the right player. I've always said it, whether it's 5 million or 500 million. But time will tell. Cam says he's off to the game tomorrow. Hopefully a win.
Bring it home, man.
What's the predicted lineup from? What's the predicted score from Goalmouth?
I predicted Liverpool win every time and we've lost. So I'm going to go for a 2-2 West Bromwich Albion style. Celebrate with the fans at the end. Yeah.
There is no way we're celebrating a 2-2 with the crowd.
That's all I want to see, man.
No way, man. I think we win tomorrow. I think we win 2-1. I think Ekitike and finally Mohamed Salah scores a goal from open play. Yeah, man. I like you say, it can't go on. It can't. It's got to stop somewhere, man. We cannot lose a game.
Oh, Grizz, those are the famous words.
This has been
in February. Can't go on. Still going
this has been. What's that film? Red October.
Is it Red October or Groundhog Day?
No, man. The Hunt for Red October. Something like that. People, what's that film I'm talking about? Well, it's been a mad, mental October. From a personal point of view, from a Liverpool point of view, from everything. A turbulent October. Let's hope November brings much more happiness and calmness to everyone and everything, including Liverpool Football Club. Ladies and gentlemen, hope you've enjoyed tonight's version of or episode of Chat G&G. Gags may be back next week, may not be. He's the boss, so he decides when he's back. And until then, thank you, Keith, for joining us. Hope you enjoyed our what's becoming a regular chat now on Friday evenings. Bit of therapeutic, hopefully. A bit of therapy there, but ultimately it's Liverpool that can bring the calmness. Take care, guys. Peace, love, and tranquility to you. Bye-bye. Good night.